Gibbo presents.
Today, Moodie's Records is not a record store. It's the record store. In recent years, whilst other independent record stores have been shutting up shop, Moodie's has not only managed to survive, but flourish. Meaning the store located on White Plains Road in the Bronx has achieved iconic status, cementing its place as a true New York institution. Eager to learn more about the store's history and the secret to their success, I recently caught up with Earl Moodie Jr. I began by asking when Moodie's was founded and by whom.
The store was founded in 1973 by Mr. Earl Moodie.
Your father? Did he have a background in music prior to opening the store?
Yeah, that's my father, and yes, he has an extensive background in music. He worked in a local record store, actually in the same area that his current store is in, for 6 years before he opened his own store. And before that, along with working at that store, he was the lead singer for a local band that, was pretty popular in New York.
What kind of music did the band make?
They actually sang over a lot of Motown stuff, soul music, but whenever they would get hired at different places, they started performing for, very well-to-do events like the United Nations and places like that, they would sing over whatever they was requested to sing, whatever genre of music.
Is soul and Motown your dad's main passion, or is he into all genres of music?
Yeah, man. My dad's favorite artist is Smokey Robinson and Stevie Wonder. And a lot of people always said, my dad really patterned himself after Smokey. He dressed like him, he sounded like him. And my dad was also, not only the lead singer, he was also a writer. So, I think Smokey Robinson was very influential on him.
When the store first opened, did it only sell vinyl?
When the store first opened, what I recall from conversations that I had was it did start out with just vinyl.
And what genres of music did the store stock in the early days?
In the early days, it was all Caribbean music.
So that would be reggae, calypso.
Dancehall, vocal, dub, anything that came from the islands, any music that came from the islands, cultural music, vocal, singing, anything.
When Moodie's first opened, approximately how many other similar record stores were there in New York?
Well, once again, I know I wasn't up here at that time, but I wasn't even born at that time. But I would imagine the way that I hear and the stories I hear when they spoke about that, record stores were very common. It was common to see as much as 2 stores within a 1-block or 2-block radius.
When was it that you first began working in the store?
I first got involved in Moodies 93, 94.
And that was when you relocated to New York?
Yes, it was.
In the early years, were the store's customers primarily soundmen and selectors?
Yeah, primarily soundmen, selectors, and if you move along, when he started getting more like soul vinyl in, he started getting those real serious vinyl collectors, from around the country.
During the peak time in vinyl sales, On average, how many 45s would a selector buy each time he visited the store?
On any given day, one selector would leave with no less than the minimum 40, about 40, 45, no less. That was the minimum. You know, and those were the real serious selectors. The ones that were just beginning, like the younger kids that, you know, wanted to, you know, get together and start their sound, they would come in and spend their little lunch money, their little, you know, 9 to 5 McDonald's money every day and buy 2, 3, 4, 45. Like the way kids buy, save up their money for tattoos and sneakers now, pretty much the way those young up and coming selectors spend their money on records.
That sounds very familiar to me. When I was an aspiring young selector, I used to get given a certain amount of money from my parents for lunch each day. I would get myself something cheap to eat and then save the leftover money so I could go to the record store at the weekends and buy at least a couple of the cuts on some of the week's new rhythms.
Right. That's exactly what they did. They would always, like, try to at least buy the top 2 artists on each, you know, not even each rhythm, because so many rhythms came out of it. I mean, it's crazy. So many rhythms, and there was tons of artists on each rhythm.
Would you be able to name some of the more famous customers that used to pass through Moodie's on a regular basis?
Oh, yeah. Bobby Condos and Java, Stone Love, Metro Media, Bodyguard, Black Cat, Tony Mandaron, Ed and I, Stanley Bashman, almost every downbeat. He's a regular here. He's still a regular here. He was just here yesterday. I can go on and on. There's probably no sound, no established sound, worldwide that hasn't been here.
Again, if we go back to the time when vinyl sales were at their peak, roughly how many records would be shipped to the store each week for you to sell on to your customers?
Right. Well, when I came here in 93, 94, there were at least every 2 days or every 3 days, there's at least 10 to 15 boxes of vinyl coming in. That's when I came. I remember visiting as a kid before then in the 80s. And I know I used to see no less than 20 boxes coming in. It's a lot of vinyl, a lot of shipment every day.
You mentioned that you visited the shop when you were young. Was it a place that always intrigued you and that you wanted to spend more time in, or did it not really interest you until you were older?
Yeah, I didn't really get interested in music like that until I got older, actually, until I got here in 93, 94. I really didn't know what my calling was in life. My mother's American, my father's Jamaican Chinese. I grew up with my mother, and, you know, growing up my mother, the American way of life, you know, it's just like, hey, this is what you do. You know, you go to school, you work, and go to college, and, you know, you just kind of, it's nothing really, you don't really get that talk about, well, what is your passion? What do you really want to do? So that's the way I grew up. So I never really, you know, tapped into what I really loved and my passion and found out what it was until I got here in 93, 94. I'll say that year was changed my life when I came here.
So, prior to working in the shop, did you view having to work with your father as a chore, or was it something you really weren't bothered about?
Right. Really, it was just about spending time with my dad, you know? It wasn't about music, it wasn't about the stores, just spending time with my father. I wanted to, you know, get to know my father better, obviously. You know, like I said, I grew up with my mother, so, you know, it's more of a, you know, a father-son, you know, thing where we were trying to, you know, really bond more.
Again, if I go back to the days when I first started buying records, many of the record stores I used to visit here in the UK were more than just stores. They were meeting points where selectors and music enthusiasts would gather, socialise and chat, whilst of course stocking up on the latest tunes. Does this sound familiar? Was what I just described true of Moodies too?
Oh yeah, Moodie's Records was pretty much the hub for everything that deals with the Caribbean, whether it be music, politics, entertainment, social awareness, just anything going on with the Caribbean islands. This was the hub. But obviously, the main subject was music. But this was the hub where everybody got together, bought music, talked, spoke, had fun, joked, great conversations, and just hung out and just pretty much just were very engaging with each other. It wasn't this isn't a spot where people come and get what they want and leave. Like I said, whenever a customer come in, in those times there was no customer that just came and left. They would at least be here for an hour or more. Hour is the minimum.
Before we began recording, you mentioned the store was busy this afternoon. Does it still have the same kind of buzz and feeling that it did back then?
It's a kind of atmosphere, but when you see your old customers from those times come in, sometimes you feel that atmosphere again, of the good old days. They might not be buying a silver 45s anymore, now with the CDs, and, it's a little different, but sometimes you still get that same air of familiarity that brings back memories of the good old days.
When did the store first expand its range of products to include items other than vinyl?
I don't really have the exact year that they started to expand from vinyl and other genres of music, but I know when I did come here in 93, 94, they were no longer just, Caribbean-based record store. He sold everything when I came here, every genre of music, every format of music he sold.
I'm guessing cassettes and VHS were pretty popular back then?
Yeah, DVDs, VHS, cassettes. Listen, when I came here, he was still selling, for those people that didn't want to get rid of their old systems, he was still selling 8-tracks, man. Listen, my dad doesn't give up on any format of music, man, and I really look up to him, admire him for that because, there's a lot of other stores that they kind of just move on with the times. It's just like, all right, they don't want tapes, we're not selling tapes anymore. Okay. I see them moving away even from CDs, which is going to be a virtual store. No, not him, man. We still sell turntables. We still sell cassettes. We still sell VHS. We sell DVDs, CDs, everything.
It's a well-documented fact that in the last 10 or 15 years, vinyl sales in all genres of music have plummeted. When did you first notice vinyl sales begin to decline?
Well, it wasn't noticeable, like I said earlier, until after 9/11. I don't know why that was. I mean, obviously it changed America and the scope of a lot of things here. But it's just the vinyl. That's what you noticed first. It just started to the sales really started to decline. But then it was rapid.
This would have been around the time when Napster and illegal downloading first became popular. I'm guessing you think this was the main factor that led to the decline in vinyl sales?
Oh yeah, the internet and just technology. That's what technology really took a turn, like turned that corner and just started to take off. All these, everything now became a smaller device, but yet, it can carry everything that you used to carry in crates in a device the size of your hand. So, technology along with the internet, yes, that definitely was the biggest factor.
When you would see people who had stopped coming into your store out and about, did they openly admit that they were now downloading their music? Or did they try and hide the facts and come up with an excuse as to why they hadn't been in the store for a while?
No, they openly admitted. They would come in because, like I said, my father, man, he has a loyal customer base and they love him. I mean, the sound man just disappeared, but they would come and be like, yo, I get everything online now. They didn't hide it. There wasn't anything for them to hide, from our side of it and from their end of it. Everything was open, like, they would come with a whole conversation like, yo, man, I remember buying all of these, now I get them online, and I get them online ahead of time, even before y'all get them on 45. So, it was pretty open. There wasn't, some type of hidden behind the corner type of, behind the curtains type of thing about it. It was definitely open.
Did record companies respond to the drop in demand quickly and stop pressing as much vinyl?
Not really. They still were pressing the vinyl around that time. So they didn't respond right away. But I tell you one thing, once they seen that it plummeted to almost nothing, that's when they just said, all right, that's it, done.
Were there any selectors or soundmen who refused to move to CD and continued to buy vinyl on a regular basis after all the others had stopped?
Yeah. You had Downbeat. He still buys vinyl to this day. And there's a couple other sounds. But the one that really comes to mind is Downbeat. Everybody else has pretty much, moved over to, hard drive, and the iPad and things like that. So, it's really only Downbeat and a couple other soundmen.
I know in Japan there's still a market for 45s, but here in the UK it's pretty much the same as the US. Very, very few new release 45s are sold. The only stuff that's available really is revives and second hands.
Yeah, that's pretty much about it. The only time you'll see the labels do anything vinyl, they just do it for promo reasons, promotional, that's it. They send it out and whoever gets it is whoever gets it.
If we go back to the heyday of vinyl again, approximately what percentage of your total sales were vinyl?
At its height, I would say 80% of the sales were vinyl. I would even go as far as saying 85%.
And today?
Oh, and today, like at this moment, vinyl sales is maybe 2%.
If vinyl sales accounted for 85% of your total sales, it must have been very worrying when they began to plummet. Did you ever think that the store would have to close?
No, we never thought along those lines. My father was a person that looks at the glass half full, and he's a person, he have people say I'm a ride until the wheels fall off. I don't believe that saying, and neither does my dad, because pretty much he's just saying, hey, we can eventually close, but we just, ours was, our mentality is, listen, we are here to provide people service. We sell music. Music will never go anywhere. So we just got to figure out other ways, to sell this music. And that's when we eventually went into the lane of sending music to correctional facilities, which, as you know, if you don't know, here in America, you can't send CDs to correctional facilities. So correctional facilities are still kind of behind as far as the format, which is their only tape tapes. So that started to turn out to be really big for us. It even got to a point where we even got a ride at the Billboard magazine as being the top music store, for sending music to these facilities.
How exactly does that work with the correctional facilities? Do you get requests from them, or do you give them a catalogue of what you've got available?
Well, it's both. Well, our catalog is we have everything available. What we tell them is whatever you want, we have. Because we know that we've been here forever and we have it, whatever we don't have, we order obviously from the labels, because they have a lot of stock still sitting in their facilities, and, all you got to do is make a call and say, hey, do you still have these in stock? And I know you don't press it anymore, but is there a chance that you might have any left? And we've been having the good luck of them having, stuff left. So what we ended up doing was buying up a bulk of whatever they had left, and that really helped. And, we were able to, provide these correctional facilities with the music that they requested. So that's been really big for us. That's almost like about 40% of our sales today. Everything else, the makeup of today is CDs. We do a lot of transfer stuff. People that want to transfer their VHS to DVD, selectors that want to transfer all their vinyl to a laptop or to their hard drives, whatever it may be. So we found other ways to, so this will bring in 10%, that brings in 10%, 15, 20, and it all adds up. So we basically don't count on vinyl. We have the vinyl. As soon as you walk in the store, that's all you see is vinyl. But you'll also see that there's a vast collection of CDs. So, the vinyl is here. When we make vinyl sales, it's like a bonus. We consider that a bonus. We don't count on it.
So, is that why you think Moodies is the last man standing? Because you've been able to adapt and spot gaps in the market when other record stores couldn't?
Right. Yeah, definitely. And not only that, like I said earlier, my father set a strong foundation. I think one of the main things people got to realize is it's how you treat customers and how you treat people. This is a people business. Anytime you have a business that involves interacting with people day in and day out, that goes a long way. People like to feel comfortable where they're going. So no matter how old your store is, or maybe they don't have it, we have customers that come here and we might not have a product. And we'll say, all right, it's going to take us a couple of days to get it. They have a choice. They can go to Target now. They can go to Walmart. They even can go right down the block and there's a guy with a sheet on the floor selling the bootleg CDs. And these customers will wait 2 days for us to get it, knowing that they have all those options. So that has a lot to do with it, too. The foundation he set and the way he's treated his customers throughout the years, and the staff has treated the customers. And it all starts from the top, which is my dad. He set the precedence for everything. I remember one day I had answered the phone for a customer, and there was a customer trying to talk to me at the same time at the counter. My dad looked at me and he said to me, both customers matter. But you see the customer that's here right in front of you, he comes first. Just tell that customer to hold on, or if they can call you back, And I'm telling you, like, I learned so much from him. He's my mentor.
Prior to doing this interview, when I asked people about their thoughts on Moodies, the knowledge and helpfulness of the staff were two common responses. So your approach certainly does pay off, and it's contributed to the shop's great reputation.
Oh yeah, definitely. And he is the reputation. Moodies is him. He is the store is him. If you kind of know what I mean, you know what I'm trying to say. I don't know. I don't think anybody that's been a part of the store as a family, customer-wise, can ever walk in here a day and see him not here and don't feel like, okay, something's wrong. It's Moodie okay. That's a weird day for him. He's here 7 days a week, and he's been doing it for over 20 years. Over 20 years. Because before that, he used to take a couple of vacations, but for the past 20 years, he's been working 7 days every day.
And I'm guessing he still has the same drive, passion, and love for music that he's always had.
Oh my God, you wouldn't think he just opened this store yesterday.
As a music lover, it really is inspiring to hear a story about someone as passionate as your father, who eats, sleeps, and breathes music.
Oh yeah, it is, man. It's funny you say that because just yesterday I told my dad, I said, I'm proud to have the father that I have, man. I look up to you in every way. You know, I would never ask to be fathered by any other man. I'm definitely proud of that man right there. Even if he wasn't my father, I would still give the same accolades and the same compliments to him because he's just cut from that cloth, man. The guy, he has high character, man. Great guy.
It certainly is good to hear about a father who is such a positive role model, and that you two have such a great father-son relationship. All too often we hear the negative stories about deadbeat dads and fatherless children, so it's refreshing to be able to tell a father-son story with a happy ending, if you like.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's no ending yet, man. We still going.
My apologies, I didn't mean it in that way, and I'm sure your relationship is also inspiring to other members of the community.
Right. Yep, definitely.
If Moodies had been located in Boston or Philly or Miami, do you think it would still be in business? Has the fact that the shop is located in New York played a part in its success?
Well, a location does, obviously with any business, location plays a big part, foot traffic, how many different ways people have access to getting to you by public transportation, parking, it's an area that's bursting with other businesses that can, just a lot of traffic coming through, so yes, the location is a big part of it, a very big part of it. If it was located anywhere else, who's to know? I couldn't say, you know what I mean? But I guess you could say it was the perfect storm for him because it didn't take no more than 2 weeks from his store to open for it to just take off. So location, the support he got from his circle, they wanted to see him succeed, and him himself, very determined when it comes to something that he believes in, and he's very passionate. So, all of those things had a lot to do with it. You know what I mean? There's actually a record store that was right around the corner from us. Right around the corner. So you could basically say the same location. And, it's sad they're no longer open, but I mean, they closed years ago. You know what I mean? But it just, like I said,
I wasn't trying to take away from yours or your father's success in any way. I was just trying to see if you thought location had played a part, however small that may be, in the shop's success.
Right. I totally understand where you're coming from, because it's like, yo, listen, you guys survived. So I know, you know what I mean? Listen, we have major labels call us every day, and it's like they're always calling us with condolences to other stores, like, listen, you know, did you hear that your fellow store owner just closed? And I'm like, no, are you serious? And some of the stores that closed, I'm so surprised, because they pretty notable stores that even were way ahead of the curve, even with us, when it came to embracing and keeping up with technology and, you know, having in-stores with all the popular artists and doing things to keep people interactive with the store. So it really surprised me, like, whoa, these were people that were really into what they love too. You know, they love the music, they love the people, they love the community. They did different things, they did different events. You know, they did things you have to do. To enhance your business and keep people interested. So, you know, hearing things like that, it never made me say, oh, we're next or anything like that, but it was just like, man, listen, that's what reinstilled in me, like, whoa, you know, this is serious here. My pops really set a foundation, and it's a serious one, he said.
As other independent record stores have closed, have you noticed more people coming to Moodie's? Have you inherited their customers?
Funny enough, no. Funny enough, no. We have our good days, bad days, good months, bad months. But it's not like it's not a situation. I think with music is different, man. I think, like, if a supermarket or a barbershop closed, I think you would see that where more people would go to a barbershop, would see more, you know, more customers come that used to go to this one, because it's, you know, I don't know. I've seen that happen. You know, when the supermarket closed, the big supermarket across the street, everybody starts to go there. You know, with our store with music, I think that we've always had the customers we've had, and we had new customers, and out of state customers, and out of the country customers. I think our store was never based on whether another store closes or not, and who we get from them or not. Would we like their customers? Yeah, of course, you know. Did we probably get a couple of them? Yeah, maybe, but it wasn't to the point where it was like, okay, that store closed, and now we got this 50 to 100 customers, and we see a super increase. No, never really saw anything like that.
Do you get a lot of customers who come to visit from outside of New York, from around the country and abroad?
Oh yeah, from all over the world, man. All over the world. Especially overseas, we got those customers that come once or twice a year. And, you know, whenever they come, like, there's this couple of guys that come from China. And when they come here, they lock themselves here in the store for like a week. And it's straight vinyl. And they just look through every piece of vinyl that we have, top to bottom. They're very tedious. They check.
So, is it record enthusiasts and collectors who make up most of Moodie's customers today?
Yeah, just as far as the vinyl. As far as vinyl, record enthusiasts, vinyl collectors, like I said, overseas buyers, that's all they come for. All they come for is the vinyl. That's all they come for is the vinyl, especially the overseas customers.
If we look at your non-vinyl buying customers, what are the most popular items that they purchase? Mix CDs, DVDs, concert and event tickets?
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. There's a normal public customers, every genre of music, every format, CDs, tapes, vinyl, DVDs, mixes. Like I told you, we ship to correctional facilities. We do transfer music for customers and things like that. You know, that's pretty much it. Like I said, you know, now it's not like before where it was like, you know, we know we're gonna make like 4,000 alone off of vinyl tonight. You know what I mean? That's not the case anymore, so we make it up in other ways.
Could you give me a roll call of all the staff who work in Moodies today and quickly tell me what their expertise are and what they bring to the team?
Okay, we have Buck, who's been here. He's the longest tenured employee here with my dad. Him and my dad are pretty much like a dictionary of music. Once you can hum a word to them or whatever, and, you know, like mostly oldies, you know what I mean? But they're just, they're two guys that are just like incredible when it comes to, you know, their vast knowledge of music. Then you have George. He works on the first floor. He just came up recently, maybe like 2 years ago. He did accountant work. He did accountant work in Jamaica. And he's always been a good friend of my dad. And he came up here to America, and you know, he ended up joining forces with my dad here in this store. Obviously, he doesn't have a vast knowledge of music, but he has a way with customers. And I always tell him, man, you're like the smooth talking guy. You know what I mean? The customers love him. He has a great personality. And once again, you have to be a people person working in this environment. So yeah, he's a great guy. He's been a great addition. And then you also have David. He works on the second floor where the all American music is located. And I also work on the second floor too. So it's me and him on the second floor, and Mr. Moodie, George, Buck on the first floor.
So when you come into the store, you have your Caribbean music on the first floor, and then your American music on the second floor?
Yep, all the American music. Well, most the current American music on the first floor, but on the second floor. But actually, on the first floor is where all the Caribbean music is. Yes, but also on the first floor is where you have all of the vinyl, as far as oldies vinyl, collector's vinyl, reggae vinyl, the last bit of, you know, dated vinyl that they put out from the labels. Also, they have a large selection of oldies, CDs, soul, jazz, country music, gospel, you know, pretty much every genre of music. And up here is more the current stuff, like the pop, rock, R&B, and hip-hop, you know, the current artists, you know, like from maybe like the late 90s on up.
If we look at your younger customers, say 25 and under, is there a trend for them to go more for the American music, or is that not the case?
No, not at all. No, it's not balanced. I mean, obviously it's more of the American music, but you know what's so funny? It's like these different phases they go through, because then I'll see them go through a phase where they start getting into their reggae and dancehall music, and it's like they're all about dancehall. It seems like once you get sucked into reggae music, that's it. That's your first love. It turns into your first love. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, and I don't see where it is like, oh, forget about dancehall music or reggae music, anything like that. To be honest with you, aside from the mixtapes, the dancehall music, dancehall has really got hit a lot, because they pretty much, it's hard for them. They don't really sell because everything gets downloaded.
Do you think if different dancehall music products were available, that people would buy them? For example, if artists released albums where all the tracks were previously unreleased? Or have people got so used to downloading music for free that the trend can never be reversed?
Yeah, it can't be reversed. They're so into it. Unless they put a total stop to it, it's far gone. It has nothing to do with the mixtapes. They still try to blame it on the mixtapes, but even the mixtape guys be complaining, like, they complain as if they're like putting out original original CDs. Like, yo, it ain't the same. I put out a CD. My little 10-year-old son at home can put together a better mix than me and get newer music than me because of the downloading on the internet. So, you know, it's really far gone, and it's sad to see it. You know, the only real genre of music that sells as far as reggae is concerned is the singers, the vocal, and the culture music. That still sells. The dancehall, forget about it. Unless you're a Vibes Cartel, or maybe a couple of new artists, you know, making some buzz like a Busy Signal, you know, or Conscience, or like earlier, my coworker was telling me about Chris Martin. Unless you're one of those guys, you know, you're not really selling. Like Sean Paul, his new release came out the other day, and his numbers came back, and he only sold 4,000. I mean, this is a guy that went platinum. You know, he was once the biggest dancehall artist in the world, and this was just a couple of years ago. It's not like he's young still. You know, it's not like but it just shows you how hard they've been hit.
Yeah, I saw the Nielsen SoundScan figures for reggae albums, and they weren't good. The only albums which really bucked the trend were Jimmy Cliff's Rebirth and Beres Hammond's One Love, One Life.
Exactly. The new Beres Hammond CD is selling like as if we were in the 90s again. You know? And that's about it, though. But how many, you know, how much are you going to really depend on a Beres release and, you know, or Jimmy Cliff release? You know what I mean? It's sad, you know? It's sad to see what this comes down to, you know?
Do you think this is because it's a different person who buys a Beres CD as opposed to a Sean Paul CD?
No, that's two different customers. But what I'm trying to say is that customer base that did support Sean Paul is more of a dancehall customer. And even if there was a customer, the customer that would buy Beres would also buy Sean Paul, he would most likely buy the Beres and download the Sean Paul. Because it's almost like the dancehall music has no relevance. It's worth. It's not what it used to be. You know, the only guy the last dancehall guy that a lot of people were coming in for was Vibes Cartel. If it wasn't him, it was Busy Signal or Buju, and that's it.
When people buy a Beres CD, do you think they feel they're getting a better quality product than they would if they bought an album from a dancehall artist?
Well, it's not so much as that. I think Beres has built a fan base to the point where it's like, I don't want a bootleg Beres CD. If I'm going to buy Beres, I'm going to buy the real CD. You know what I mean? It's like Michael Jackson. Yeah, we can buy a bootleg Michael Jackson, but you prefer to buy the original, you know, because that's Michael Jackson. I think that's what more of the case is with the Beres. And plus, Beres customers are in his age group and maybe a little younger, and that's the age group that still buys CDs, no matter the price.
Lastly, will Moodies still be around in 10 years? And how will the Moodies of the future differ from the Moodies of today?
Well, Moodies will definitely be here in 10 years. Whether it be physical or virtual or just virtual, Moodies will be here.
Is the virtual side of things something you're trying to move towards these days?
Oh yeah, definitely. You have to. You have to. Like I said, we've also embraced that, you know? You have to. If you don't have any online awareness, oh man, pretty much writing your own death sentence, you know?
Many thanks, Earl. I truly appreciate you giving up your time today. I've really enjoyed talking to you. You've given me a unique insight into the history and success of Moodies. I hope we chat again soon.
Well, listen, man, thank you for Moodies Records and on behalf of my father, Mr. Earl Moodie himself. It was my pleasure, and we thank
Gibbo.